and in the right click and the options, I should say, either the options in the command line or however you get to your options, make sure you use the option close. All right. Then I would like you to set the current layer to the A wall pattern layer, because that's the layer we're going to use for our actual floor plan, but we might as well go ahead and set it as the current layer right now. All right. Here in your home tab on the draw panel, in the lower right hand corner of the draw panel, you'll see the hatch command. Go ahead and start that command. Now when you do, you get a contextual tab. For the hatch command, there are just so many little options that adding them all to the command line would just be crazy. So they create your own little tab just for the creation of a hatch. So let's walk through this ribbon tab. First, you have the way in which you can define a hatch by a boundary. All hatches require a boundary. More specifically, or more preferably, or more easily, a closed boundary. That's why I had you use these closed boundaries. Now, I had you use these objects that are, the circle is not a compound element, but the polyline zone. One way we could add a hatch is to simply select one of those elements. But most of the time, adding patterns, you're going to let AutoCAD detect the boundaries for the pattern. That's the pick points option, and that's set by default. Basically, what ends up happening is that you just hover over lines, like everything here is a bunch of individual lines. Now, I don't mean for you to see this, I just hovered over this thing here, but it's able to detect these boundaries. So you don't have to select the object. So that's what this is, and you can, it's set there by default. You don't really have to click on anything. But if you wanted to, you could go back to select, and that means you can actually select entities that you would like to use as a boundary. All right. Next is what pattern do you want to use? So for our plan, we're going to use this solid pattern, but I want to practice with some of these other patterns. There's a little scroll bar button here where you can scroll through all the different patterns that are available. If you want to see more at a time, there's a little drop down here where you can see more of the patterns, and there's also a scroll bar that you can scroll. And finally, if you want to see even more of the patterns all at once, there's a little drag window right here. And you can drag this out to see all of the patterns. All right. The pattern I'd like you to use to practice with is this ANSI 31. ANSI 31. ANSI stands for American National Standards Institute. And they've come up with some standard patterns. It's not the CAD standard that I talked about. It's the American National Standards Institute. All right, so go ahead and select ANSI 31. Now, over here, we have the properties of the hatch. Okay? one of the properties is that I want you to change the scale of the pattern. Now you might have noticed earlier when I hovered accidentally over a boundary area, a bounded area. You saw a pattern, but it looked like a solid pattern. But in reality, I had ANSI, this diagonal line pattern. I had that selected, but it didn't look like a line pattern. That's because the scale of the hatch pattern was way too small. I would like everybody to change this to, let's start out with something like 120. So type in there a scale of 120. All right. Next, I want to take a look at one of the options here. Create separate hatches. First, I do not want you to select this. I want you to see what the difference is between this turned off and this turned on. So we're going to leave it just the way it is, not turned on. If it's turned on, it's blue. I don't want it turned on. So there's a little drop down here. Create separate hatches. Turn that off. Associative. Similar to what we saw with the associative arrays, what this means is that when we define a boundary for our hatch, if the boundary changes, the hatch is associated with the boundary and the hatch will change. All right, let's leave this on the way it is. All right, now what I want you to do is hover your cursor over your circle, inside of your circle, and you're going to see a preview of the hatch pattern. All right, go ahead and click on that boundary inside of the circle, and you've now added a hatch pattern. Go to the next object, click on it, and go to the next one and click on it. When you're done selecting your practice boundaries, go ahead and close the hatch creation dialog box. Sorry, not a dialog box. It used to be a dialog box. That's how old I am. It used to be a dialog box. Now it's a ribbon tab. Go ahead and close the hatch creation ribbon. All right, so there's your practice things. Now here's the thing. I had you leave on, or off, I should say, create separate hatches. Throughout all those different boundaries, now we have one overall hatch pattern. Sometimes, I should say it this way, most times, dealing with each of these different boundaries, these separate boundaries, with one hatch pattern within them can be quite tedious. Now, they've actually made some changes over the years where if I move one of these boundaries, I think it has to do with the associativeness. Even though they're all one boundary, even though they're all one hatch pattern, because of, well, actually it didn't do it. Here's a perfect example. I'm trying to move the boundary here. Look at this. So you can, actually that proves my point. I've done this before with other classes, and it actually, let me see if I can get it to do what I want. If I select the boundary and I try to move the boundary, so I don't know why I didn't do that the first time. Maybe I did not select it. I think I might have selected. Separate boundaries, which they are, but it's still an overall one not separate hatch pattern. Go ahead and select the hatch pattern and notice what happens here. You're no longer seeing the hatch creation tab. What you see is the hatch editor, and it basically has all the same tools. It's just that now you can edit your hatch. The first thing I'd like you to do is turn on the option separate hatches. All right, go ahead and do that. And now close that. Yep.
I got sidetracked and I hit enter and then it put me out. What's the, how do you get to the hatch again? You go to Express Tools?
No, not Express Tools, not at all. Right here on the Home tab, right here in the very first panel, Draw panel, it's Hatch, right here in the lower
I got
right-hand
it.
corner.
Okay, I forgot.
Got
Couldn't
it?
find it.
Okay,
Thanks.
you got it. Okay. Um, yeah, so now once you exit out of there, look now, if you hover over a hatch pattern, see how they're separate patterns now. Okay? Now, select just one pattern and take a look at the hatch editor properties. Try changing the scale maybe to 60 and see the reaction. Look at that, it's half the size now. You can also change the angle. Look, it's got a little slide bar where you can sort of slide this around. Well, it's supposed to. What's going on here? Yeah, there you go. I was looking for it to be a little bit more dynamic. It is. So you can slide the little angle here. Okay. Another thing is if you have this drop down here, this is something I didn't even have to tell you to set the AWOL pattern to be the current layer. I could come in here and I could set the layer separately from the, I should have showed you this during the hatch creation, and maybe I will. But the point is that you can, if you know that you're going to be putting hatches on a particular layer, and you don't want to have to remember to set the current layer for that layer, you can set it right here in the properties while you're adding that. Maybe I'll show that to you. All right, and try some other patterns. Experiment with some of the other patterns here. Like for instance, if you come up here, try like the ANSI 31 or 2, I should say, or some of these other patterns. Just see what they look like. Notice it's very dynamic. As soon as you hover over it in the gallery here, it'll actually show you. Notice how some patterns have different scales. See, like this one needs a much smaller scale in order to be seen, for instance. Here's one that I find very interesting, Escher. And here I'll lower the scale a little bit of it. And here's what I mean by it being associative. If I change the shape and size of the boundary, the pattern will automatically adjust to the boundary. So this is a pattern. It's supposed to be looking like, oh, I had it before. Where is it? I don't know where that particular pattern went. I had an image of it. I don't know what happened. It's similar to this one. This one right here, similar. But you get the idea. Look at all these extra patterns here. That's what that's supposed to be representing. Okay? Here's another thing. Grips. I haven't really dived into grips that much, but for hatches, you have the same sort of settings here that you don't even have to get to the hatch editor. I could change the hatch angle here dynamically without having to get into the hatch editor. If you just hover over this little dot in the center of your pattern, you can change like the scale, the angle, and so on. All right, so that's a little bit about hatch. What we're going to do now is we're going to hatch the walls of our bedroom plan. So you can go ahead and erase your practice boundaries here. Just one last thing. I wanted to show you, if I start the hatch command, with the select, I don't have to pick inside a boundary. I can select something that consists of a boundary, as you can see there. All right, I am going to delete this. Okay, here's what I'd like us to do. I mentioned about the pattern. Now, you can keep your wall pattern on, but just to show you what I'm talking about, let's say I forgot to change the wall pattern. I'm sorry. Let's say I forgot to change the current layer to the A wall pattern layer. All right? And then I start the command. So I want everybody to start you don't have to change the layer, but start the hatch command. And what we're going to do is we're going to select at the very top of the list, the very first pattern. It's not really a pattern at all, it's just a solid couche. Select solid. And here is what I was talking about. If you go to properties, before you even add the hatch, you can say, instead of using the current layer, I want to place this hatch on the A wall pattern layer. And so this just makes it convenient. So you don't have to exit out of command or go to the home tab. You can just make sure that the layer is the proper layer for your hatch, straight from here. All right, now when you hover, and make sure your pick points, somehow I left it on select, so make sure pick points is on. I did that. All right, now with pick points turned on, unfortunately, pick points in these elements, they don't have like a blue background. Like this doesn't have a blue background. I don't know why they don't do that motif here. But anyway, pick points on. When you hover over an enclosed area, you're going to see a preview of your hatch pattern. All you have to do to place it is click once. All right. Now here I am. I've hovered over the whole thing. I don't want to do that. But here, you hover over the individual little pieces, the little wall pieces in between, and you can add the hatch. Now, I want to make sure everybody realizes something there. Every time I hovered over something, I saw a preview. But watch this. Everybody will watch me first. Here, I'm going to hover my cursor over this area here, and I don't get a preview. What's going on? Is it not working? I don't get a preview. Here's what's going on. The pattern, the boundary is off screen. It's off stage. The entire boundary. So it can't show you the preview, but if I go ahead and click anyway, it will still give me the pattern. Okay, it'll still give me the hatch. All right, so I just want you to realize that. So for instance, if I hover over this area here, you saw how the other area is not on the screen, so I don't see the preview. But if I pan up and then everything is on the screen, when I hover over it, now I get a preview. But don't panic when you don't see the preview. It's still working, and you can still click in it without the preview, and it'll still give you your pattern. See that? All right. Once you've added that wall pattern to all of the walls, go ahead and save your drawing. All right, so that's a little bit about.
I have a question,
Sure.
Alan. How do I change the layer? I missed that. So,
Okay,
Sandra, so if you look at my screen, it's
gotcha.
still pink.
Okay. So what? And you mean while you're in the hatch command, you want to be able to do it that way, right?
Well, I'm in the editor now because I
Okay.
put it on the wrong layer purposely so I can change it, but
Okay.
I don't know.
I got you. Yeah. So here, do this. I don't know if it'll change the ones that are already there. I'm not sure, but if you click while you're in the hatch editor, if you click on the little drop down where it says properties, right above that, right there, that's where you can change it.
I see. Got
Okay.
it. Got it. Thank you.
But I don't think it's going to change the ones you've already got in there. So you'll just have to select them again. Yeah. So here, why don't you do this? Close out of the hatch editor.
Okay.
And now, if you select those pink hatches, and you can just hover right over them. Just do one or two for right now. And now you can go here in the properties here, and you can change it, the layer there. Or you can actually go all the way to the to the home tab and the layer drop down. But anyway, that's the difference between the two. Just the fact that if everybody looks at my screen here, I can have another layer set as my current layer. But when I go to hatch, I can have it set to another layer other than the current layer.
Okay, so it's just below the properties. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. See that? Like that.
Great.
All right. Any other questions? Okay then, let's do this. We're going to talk about setting up our layout for printing. Okay? Here we're going to do this is we're going to introduce the concept of layouts. And for our layout, we're going to add what's known as a page setup. And what's great about a page setup is that when we get to this topic at the very end about printing, I want you to notice something with printing and plotting topic, that this dialog box here for plotting or printing is nearly identical to the dialog box that we're going to be looking at right now for page setup. So in a sense, a page setup allows us to predefine all of our plotting and printing properties, and all we have to do is select that page setup, and then we're ready to print. All right, so think of it that way. It just predefines everything you need for printing. And it also allows us to configure our layout for the proper sheet size and so forth. All right, with that in mind, here's what I want everybody to do. I need you to go to layout 1 down here. So click on layout 1. And we're now in a layout space. All right? Now, all layouts in these default templates, they all have viewports. That's what this is. That's our next topic coming up, viewports. To alleviate any confusion right now, here's what I'd like everybody to do at this point. I would like everybody to select this rectangular viewport and delete it. We're going to create our own viewport.
I just noticed something, Alan, that
Sure.
my layout 2 equals your layout 1. If I click on layout 1, it's a different sheet and a different position of the...
That's perfectly fine. And here's that's another reason why I just want to delete this, It's simply for the fact that I have a different sort of spatial something here than you had, and that's fine. That's okay. But that's another reason why I just wanted all of us to start from one standard point, and we're going to do that in our next topic. So what I want everybody to do is simply select the viewport and delete it, erase it. We're going to create our own viewport. So as I mentioned, the layouts in these default templates, they already have viewports in them. That's just by default. We're going to create our own viewport. Now, of course, you can use the viewport there, but I want to give you a chance to create your own. All right, currently, this is representing a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. What we're going to do is we're going to create a layout or a page setup that represents an 11 by 17 sheet of paper. This title block that you see here is 17 inches this way and 11 inches this way. And we're going to portray in our thing, we didn't get to the rest of the floor plan. We're just going to put in our 11 by 17 sheet, we're going to put in this little bedroom here in a viewport. All right. So in order to set this up for an 11 by 17 sheet of paper, we're going to create a page setup. All right. Here's what I want to do. Everybody's in the layout. We've all selected our viewport and we've deleted it. Okay. I want you to now go to the layout tab. Notice that you don't usually see this tab, especially when you're in model space. It does not show when you're in model space. But in the context of the space you're in right now, the paper space or the layout, we have a layout tab. So go ahead and click on that in the ribbon. These are all the commands to help you set up a layout. And the one that I want to look at first is this one right here, the Page Setup Manager. We're going to create a whole new page setup, and this is the way that we can create several different page setups for all sorts of different size sheets of paper, for all sorts of different devices or files that we're going to plot to. And so this allows us to standardize all of these elements so that when we go to plot, it's not a whole guessing game every time we do it. We have it already set up and ready to go. So click on this Page Setup Manager button, and this is the Page Setup Manager. Right now, we don't have any page setups set up in this drawing. What this is saying is that there is no page setup, but there is a layout called Layout 1. All right, following the directions here. Oh, I always skip this part. You know what? I always skip this part, and I'm going to do it right now. We're going to come back to this part. So I went straight to this step right here. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new page setup, and I want you to call it AOC, okay, Architect of the Capitol, AOC 11 by 17 PDF. All right, new. And it's going to ask you to give it a name. I want you to name it AOC 11 by 17 PDF. All right, as a rule of thumb and a best practice, generally what people name these page setups after is they'll add their company or organization's initials, so they know that the page setup that they're seeing in the list is something that they came up with. Then they generally put the sheet size so that they know what the page setup is supposed to plot, what type of size sheet of paper. And then they put like what it's going to plot to, whether it's going to plot like to the HP plotter or the Xerox machine or in this case, a PDF file. All right. So once you've done that, go ahead and hit OK. And this is the dialog box for us to set up all the settings for our page setup. First things first, we need to select what it's going to print to. Is it going to print to a real physical printer, or are we going to create a PDF? We're going to create a PDF. So I want you to click in this little drop down here and find in here, there's one supplied by Autodesk called a DWG to PDF. So Autodesk automatically gives a PDF writer. PC3 stands for plotter configuration file. All right. Now that you've selected DWG to PDF, here is where we define the paper size. Now, depending on what you select here, are the choices you get here. Okay. So, for instance, if you select a printer in your office and that printer only prints 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, you're not going to find a sheet size in here for that printer for 48 by 36. You understand? So this paper size depends on what you print to. Meaning also that these sizes are supplied by the configuration. All right. In our case, we want to use the ANSI again, ANSI Expand B 11 by 17. All right, so look in that drop down. It's towards the top of the list, I remember. If you scroll up here, you'll see ANSI B.
I wasn't able to scroll up.
Oh, Alexa is getting in on the thing. She thought I said Alexa. ANSI, not Alexa. ANSI, no, Alexa, not for you. ANSI B.
I'll just go back to my digital camera.
All right. ANSI B 11 by 17 inches. Okay. Next, we're going to plot the extents of our title block, our eventual title block that we get in here.
I got a question for you. The one you selected was ANSI B, but this says ANSI Expand B. Does it really matter?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's my fault. I totally ignored that. Did I select that? I did not. Yes, that is, yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes. ANSI Expand B 11 by 17. Expand B just basically means that more of the sheet size and more of the sheet is going to be visible on the piece of paper. I'll explain what I mean by that after we get done here. All right, ANSI B Expand B, my fault. ANSI Expand B 11 by 17. Thank you. Here is where we decide what we're going to plot, and I want you to set it to extents. Next, we're going to allow AutoCAD to just center the plot, center the entities that we're going to print right in the center of the piece of paper. So that's this little check mark right here. Center the plot. The scale. Now, so I've been mentioning this. the scale, we drew our bedroom plan 1-to-1, full scale. If the line said it was 16 foot 6 inches long, we drew it 16 foot 6 inches long. So if you think about it, I've got an 11 by 17 sheet of paper. How the heck am I going to be able to fit a drawing that's full size, and the extent of the elements in my drawing are 31 foot 7 in one direction, 16 foot 6 in another direction? How am I going to plot that at full size? Well, we're going to do that through the use of the viewport. The viewport we're going to be able to fit on that 11 by 17 sheet of paper. And then inside the viewport, we're going to be able to put in our, visualize our bedroom plan. And then we're going to set it, the viewport, at a particular scale. So when it asks here, when you're in a layout to set the plot scale, you're always going to use 1-to-1. You're going to let your viewports take care of the scale. You're plotting that piece of paper at its actual size. Think of it that way. And so that's the scale right here. And finally, we have something called a plot style table. And I'd like you to select this one. This comes with AutoCAD out of the box. And you access it or assign it from right here. Here is the plot style table file I want you to use, monochrome. All right, now what is a plot style table? A plot style table is another way in which the entities in your drawing can be controlled as to how they're going to plot. Think of it this way, the word plot style. What is the style in which these elements are going to plot? If I go and I take a look at a plot style table, there's a little button here where I can open up the file. This is the file. This is the plot style table editor. What you're seeing here are all the 255 colors that you saw in that color index. So each color that you assign to your layers or to your entities or what have you, that color has a certain way, a certain style in which it's going to plot. For instance, the only thing in our drawing currently right now that's red is that little bench in the bottom next to the water closet, in between the water closet and the walk-in closet. That's the only thing in our drawing right now that is the color red. This is how it's going to plot. Even though it's red, when I plot it on a piece of paper, it's going to be black ink. And these are all the other little things I can do. I can even add different line types. And I could add different line weights, different styles. All right, just for the heck of it, I'm going to change something here. I'm going to change to a dash. Let's see. You do not need to do this, but when I actually go to print this, you're going to see how this reacts. I'll just use this, short dash. I don't know if that's going to do anything or not. But for you, all you need to know is that everything is going to plot in black. Oh, I didn't show that to you because all the other colors, I only showed you one color, one plot style. But if you select any other colors in here, you'll see that they're all black. This actually shows the same exact information. This tab up here, table view, shows the exact same information, but it shows it in a different way, and you can see a little bit more easier how all of these colors, see this? All 255 colors here. They are all going to plot in black. Black, 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 black. And basically, nothing is, this out of the box plot style table really doesn't have anything different. It's right for customization. And so the only thing that I customize in this little example is I change color one's line type to short dash. All right. Finally, you remember every time I had you open up the class file for plotting and viewing, and it opened up to the layout, and everything in the layout, or more specifically, everything in the viewport was black and white? Well, that's because that layout had this setting set. Display plot styles. I would like you to go ahead and check this. And then you'll see how all the lines in your bedroom plan are going to be showing in the viewport as black and white. All right, go ahead and hit OK. Now let me move this out of the way. Here, it's going to be kind of hard to see here, but you'll see there's the paper back there. It's still 8.5 by 11, but we haven't yet assigned this AOC 11 by 17 PDF layout page setup to the layout yet. So go ahead and hit OK. All right. Now, how do we do that? Well, we're in this layout. So what I want to do is
And he's back.
yeah. I'm back. I'm back. That was weird. I don't know what the heck happened there. I had a thing here. All right, so where's my lab now? Sorry about it. I don't know what happened there. Oh no. What in the heck? Waiting for approval? What the heck? That was weird. I've never seen that in this. Okay. Ugh. All right, I'm back. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah. The way to set this current. Notice it says here current layout, layout 1, and then notice it says current page setup, none. So what we're going to do is we're going to set that current. Go ahead and click here, set current, and look how the paper changes in size. You can go ahead and close your page setup manager now. All right. Now, real quick before I move on to adding a title block, you made mention of, here, let me do it this way. This is the, don't do this, just watch. This is the plot dialog box. Notice how this looks almost exactly the same as the page setup dialog box. When I go to print, I have the ability to select from different page setups that I have set up. This one happens to be set up with the one that I just created. We had the discussion about the paper size. I just want everybody to realize that this is, and this all stems from the different things, because all devices can be different. But basically, the expand, what you're saying is this. You see this little dashed line around the layout That is indicative of the PDF writer, DWG to PDF. And so this is the print area. And so the expand B gave us more room. It expanded that area in which the PDF will print. So everything that's in this dashed line will print. If I change that sheet size, watch what happens. So this is what would have happened if we did, if I think it was Richard or somebody, or Patrick didn't, if they didn't catch me. If I keep it at ANSI B, watch that dashed line. Uh-oh. It's not letting me do it. Oh, there you go. Look at that. See how it's a much different space there. That's all. All right, let me set that. Actually, I don't have to set anything back. Look what I can do. I can go to my page setup manager. Currently, look at this. I just screwed up my layout, so all I have to do is reassign that page setup. I'll set it current, and look at that. Here, try this, actually. Come down to your layout number 1, right click on it, and I want you to name it. Or I should say rename it. Okay, so just like naming a tab or a worksheet in Excel, right click on it. In the right click menu, click rename, and why don't you call it, let's say, floor plan. I don't know. Floor plan. Okay. Next, I want you to go to layout 2. I don't need you to rename layout 2, but I want you to try something here. Select layout 2. Notice how it's still an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Go to page setup here. And look how the current layout here is layout 2. And it has no current page setup assigned to it. So you can select AOC 11 by 17 PDF and set it current. And look at that. Now it takes on the property. And oh, look at that. Our viewport is now showing what's in there, and it's using the plot styles, the black and white. All right. All right, go back to your floor plan tab. Your floor plan tab, you can't see the layout because we don't yet have a viewport. All right, before we add a viewport, I want to finish the tasks here. All right, so we finished this, we clicked OK, and we set the CAD or AOC PDF as the current. And then we close the page setup manager. Now what we can do is we can insert the 11 by 17 inch title block as a block. All right, in your layout here, everybody, what I want you to do is go to your insert tab. Here, I would like you to click here, blocks from library. This will summon your block palette. All right, there's your block palette. Don't do it just yet. We've got some things I want to set up, but we're going to enter in a title block here. But I have something I want you to do first. I want you to change the current layer to the ANO title block layer. So go to your Home tab. can set the current layer to a anode title block. Now, here, it never works for me in this class, so I'm not going to even try it. What I usually do, or what I'm used to doing, but it never works in my class, and I can't figure out why. What I usually do is I'll let it insert itself at 0, 0. But even though I leave this off, it still doesn't do it. So I'm just going to leave this checked, and we're going to place this thing wherever we want. Well, we're going to enter in 0, 0. Rotation, you don't need to rotate it because it's oriented exactly the way it needs to be. So you can uncheck this, and you can uncheck auto placement. So the only thing I'll just keep on is the insertion point. All right, with that, I want you to click here just once, click on this title block. This is called 11 by 17 CAD title block. Just click once, and here is your title block. All right, what I want you to do is it's asking for an insertion point. I want you to type in the absolute coordinate of 0, 0, and I want you to hit enter. Now, as soon as you do, this pops up. This is okay. What this is the block, and blocks in general have the ability to add what we call attributes. And in the case of a title block, it's a nice way to sort of have placeholder and formatted text in your title block so that you can edit the thing. Here, let's add something here. Enter in sheet number. Put this as like A-2. And then you can enter your initials down here. And if you want to, you could put the date. Okay, and then go ahead and hit OK here. All right, now this is the reason why, as I remember, why I don't quite know why it wants to put itself out here. But I'm going to see if I can fix this. If not, we're just going to move it manually into place.
I'm not getting a title block for some reason. I'm doing everything, but it doesn't show the title block.
Sandra?
Yes.
Yeah, all right, hold on a second. All right, and just click once. Just click once on the title block here. Okay. And type in, okay, well, see, wait, hold on. Hold on. That's probably why. Cancel. Double click your wheel. No. In the drawing area, double click your wheel.
Which wheel?
This is Sandra, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Double click. I want you to zoom extents. Double click the wheel. Oh, okay. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, this is what I feared. It's way out. Hold on just a second. Let me take over for a second. Yeah, it's way out here somewhere. We might have to hit an undo or something. Wow. Okay. Wow. All right. Hold on a sec. Yeah, so everybody can see what I'm doing here. Insert. Okay, I think I got that. Now let me try it one more time. Zoom. I just want to make sure. Okay, now it's okay, good. All right. And, oops. Okay, good. All right, so click here once. Okay. Um, what is, oh, I don't know if this is, yes, I got it now. I got it. Okay, okay. Even though this is not checked, I'm not sure if this is what's going on here. One, okay. 0, 0, enter, enter. Wow, okay. Oh my goodness! The layer is frozen.
Ah,
The layer is frozen, and that's why it's. You probably got a bunch of them in there. Somehow or another, the viewport layer uh, which is strange because we don't have a viewport. I don't know, but anyway, I'm going to see that. What else could possibly be? Oh, yeah, look at this over here. I don't know how that got changed. Let me see if I can do that, and let's see if it works now. Yes, okay. The viewport was closed. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put it in for you, 0, 0.
thank you.
And there you go. All right, now everybody has it like this. I understand that's my fault for skipping that step. I thought uh, I had something for that, but I'm going to see if I can't fix this, and I'll show you how to fix it. So I'm going to go here, modify, and I'm going to uncheck this, and I'm going to set this to 0, and I'm going to set this to 0, and then I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to hit yes. All right. Then I'm going to see if I can't center the plot. All right, perfect. Now let me see if I can do all of that without the first step. All right, so here's this. And so if I have everybody, hold on just a second. If I have everybody go here and I say, turn this off, and then I say, no, it's going to keep the same thing. If I click here, oh, yeah, okay, that'll work. All right, here's what I want everybody to do. This is all my fault, not your fault. Let me undo it. All right, so when we used center the plot, we did not yet have our title block in there. So I made a mistake of skipping the step. I thought I could get away with it. But we can easily fix it. Here's what I need everybody to do. Go to your layout contextual tab. Click on page setup, and we're going to edit our page setup. In the page setup manager, I want you to highlight the AOC 11 by 17 PDF, and you're going to modify it. All right? And what I want you to do is, oddly enough, it's going to work. I want you to uncheck center the plot, and then I want you to check it again. And then therefore it's going to center this piece of paper on the geometry of the title block. All right, so just check this, uncheck it, and then check it again, and then hit OK, and then say yes to this question, and then hit close. There you go. Sorry it wasn't so easy. That's my fault. All right, you can close your.
Mine look different from yours, Alan. I have
Okay,
more
let me
space
see
on the
what-
top than on the bottom.
All right, let me take a look. I think that might have been something I did. All right, let me see here. I'm gonna take control real quick. Let's see. Okay, okay, all right. I think that's because, I'm not quite sure why that is. Let me see if this fixes it. Okay. Here, let's try it again here. I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to place it in with this. Okay, and I'm going to type in 0, 0. You know, I got one last thing I'm going to do here. Oh, okay, okay. I saw it. So it was set to layout. Okay, all right, all right, all right, all right. All right, let's see if I can fix this. All right, placing it in here. I'm not quite sure if it is going to do it, but let's change it back. There's that. Page setup. We're going to set it to, okay, it's already at extents. Okay, we're going to do this. It doesn't look like it's, here's what I'll do. I'll change this to 0, and I'll change this to 0. All right. Then, sorry you had to go through all of this. Then, hopefully this will do it. If not, we're just going to manually put it back in place. All right, this might do it. I don't quite know what happened there. All right, so I'm just going to move this. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but this is fine. All right, I'm going to stop controlling. Okay. Okay, now we've got our page set up. We've got our title block in there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a viewport. So we need a way to see down into our model space and make our element conform to a particular scale. All right. All right, so here's what I want you to do. Oh, first things first, I need everybody to change their current layer. We're going to add a viewport. So I need everybody to change their current layer to the GNO view viewport. Then go back to the layout contextual tab in the ribbon, and you're going to click on this tool right here, layout viewports. This is a viewport rectangular. All right. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick a point. It's just like drawing a window, just like drawing a rectangle. I don't want you to get your cursor all the way close to the top line here, because you see what it's going to do? I don't want it to snap to the end point. I don't want you to do that. I want you to be able to see the viewport boundary first before you play around with it in that way. So I want you to make sure the first click that you click for the first corner of your viewport does not have it going to a snap. Then I want you to come down here. Same thing. Don't go all the way down here like that. I don't want it to snap to anything. I want you to put it up inside the view area here. And there's your viewport. All right.
I missed that.
I'll do it again.
All right.
Make sure your GNO viewport layer is the current layer. And why? Because this layer is a no plot layer. We're going to add this rectangle viewport, but when we print our 11 by 17 sheet of paper, we don't want to see that boundary. So we have the viewport able to be seen by us, but when we print it, it will be invisible. All right, so with GNO view, the current layer, go to your layout tab in the ribbon here. And here is the command I want you to start. Rectangular viewport. I want you to create a viewport by just picking two opposite corners of a rectangle, basically, is what it's like. But like I said, I don't want you to have it start from the corner of the geometry here. Don't do this. So make sure before you click, it doesn't have a reference to an object snap. Same thing below here. Don't go too far where you get like a midpoint snap or something. Don't do that. I just don't want the viewport boundary to be over top of the boundary in the title block. That's all. All right, and there is your view. Okay. Now, if you select the viewport, you'll see some properties for the viewport down here in your status bar. This is the scale of the viewport. All right. Also, you can access the scale with this grip right in the middle, this little drop-down grip. If you left click on it, it'll show you a list of standard scales. All right, the scale that I want to set for our drawing is going to be 3/16 of an inch equals a foot. All right. Now, what this means is, remember this dimension here? This is, oh, by the way, look at this. I didn't even have to print. The plot styles are showing the change I made to that plot style. I didn't even have to print. Anyway, if you remember the distance of the shelf, so the depth of the shelf is 12 inches of 1 foot. So 3/16 of an inch is going to equal 1 foot. Here I am in the layout tab. This dimension here, this is 17 inches by 11 inches, right? If I draw a line here at 3/16 of an inch long, so this line right here is 3/16 of an inch long. With the scale that I've set for the viewport, that means if anybody, and they're not supposed to, but if anybody put a ruler up to this thing, then this would equal 3/16 of an inch. All right?
Hey, Alan.
Now, I'm not quite sure why it's a little bit longer. Did I not write in the correct thing here?
Hey, Alan.
Yeah.
How did you set that scale? I missed where you got the drop
Don't
down.
worry about it. We're going to do it again. We're going to do it again.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't think my scale is correct. At least, let me see over here. Yeah, that's 1 foot. Oh yeah, it is. I don't know what I was. Oh, I know what it was. The little things, the little grips made it look bigger than it was. Yeah. So this is exactly 3/16 of an inch on the sheet of paper, but you can see how the scale that we set 3/16 of an inch equals a foot. This equals a foot. The depth of the shelf. All right. All right. How did we set the scale again? Well, here's what I want you to do this time. Now, when I did it this way, everybody, when I told you, I showed you this, it does some unusual thing where it changes the size of the viewport itself. It keeps the viewport the same size as it was when we did, when we made the viewport. So here's what I want you to do. Notice when you select a viewport, you have grips. I would like you to stretch this out just a little bit, like this. All right. Then I'm going to show you a different way to change the scale, and more particularly how you open up this viewport. What I want everybody to do right now is I want you to take your cursor and double click, left mouse click, double click inside of the viewport boundary. Once you've done that, what you've done is you've opened up this viewport. Now check out my scale down here. It's set correctly to 3/16 of an inch. Yours might not be that, but watch how I can screw this up. If you zoom in and out in the viewport, notice how your scale is all screwed up. Because the drawing is no longer a foot equals 3/16 of an inch, because I zoomed out now. Here's another thing I want you to do, sort of to avoid this confusion here. In the layout viewport, you can turn off the visibility of the grid. That's what I'd like you to do, is turn off this grid. All right. Now, here's the other way to set the scale. Come down to your status bar down here. You'll see these crazy numbers here. Click on that little arrow, and you'll see that same list of scales. I would like everybody to select 3/16 of an inch. All right. Now you can see how the, it's like it's zoomed into it. Now here's something I want to do here. Mine is kind of screwed up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pan over a little bit. So I'm going to sort of center my floor plan within the viewport. Now that may or may not screw up your scale. Kind of center it there, and then you might have to redo your scale. These are just little things that you have to fine tune sometimes. All right, now I've got my scale set. But here's the issue. There might be times where you need to get into these viewports and without having to go all the way to the model space, you just want to click on something or maybe change something. But you don't want to accidentally zoom in and out like this, and now your scale is all screwed up again. That's what this padlock is, right here. There's a little padlock next to the scale. So what I want everybody to do is make sure you have the proper scale set. 3/16 of an inch equals a foot. And then I want you to lock the padlock. What this does is now I have the viewport open, and if I zoom in and out, it zooms my layout. My viewport is locked. It can't zoom in and out of my viewport. So I can't change the scale. To close the viewport, simply double click anywhere outside of the viewport. Anywhere, not in here, out here. When your cursor turns into like a little arrow instead of a crosshair, that's when you can double click outside of that viewport, and now you've closed the viewport. All right. All right, we're running out of time, so here's what I'm going to do with text. I'm going to have us just
Can
create...
you just really quickly show us the line type scale, how to change the line type scale?
Yes, yes. So we see the line type scale here, and it's a little large there. The system variable is, you type in LT, that's for line type, and scale. And look, it even comes up, LT scale. All right. Now it's set to 1. And basically, I think if you set it to 60, or is it 65? Nope, that's too small. LT scale. Wait a minute. 1 was large. So maybe, let me see here. Then there's something called paper space, PS, LT scale. And I think if I set that to 0, and then I set the LT scale to, let's try 30, 32. Yeah, okay, that's getting there. That's getting there. LT scale. Oops. LT scale. Let's try 16. Oh, that looks better. All right, so how did I do that? Now, I don't want to dive too deep, but I'll just give you a high-level overview of what's going on here. There's 2 types of LT scales, and I assume because of the question, this might be an issue for some of you that are working in AutoCAD. There are two types of LT scales. One is when you're working in your model space, okay? And it's an overall overall scale for everything in the model space. And that system variable, or that drawing variable, is LT SCAL, LT scale. Now, different lines have different sort of behaviors with different LT scales. So you have to kind of fiddle around. Usually it's half or some sort of variable or numerator of the overall scale. I made a mistake when I said 60. I meant 64. So think 16, 32, 64, and 64 I believe is the scale for 3/16 of an inch equals a foot. But usually for LT scale, you want to have it be half. But when I did half, 32, it wasn't as small as I wanted. So I did LT scale. Sometimes it's just a matter of trial and error. I did a little bit less than that, 16. Okay, and then it looked pretty good to me. Now, this is what I mean by other LT scales being different. This had a different scale in my, I'm not even going to dive into that one, in my plot style table. Oh, actually, no, I'm silly. This is not the plot style table. This is the continuous line type. Duh. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about, this guy here. But anyway, now, the other LT scale is for anything that might be in paper space. So if I drew a millwork line above in my paper space, notice I don't see the dashed lines. Okay, that's because I set my paper space LT scale, and there's only two settings for this one. It's either on or off, and I turned it off so that I could easily see the overall LT scale of the drawing. So if I turn it back on, and I think I have to hit regen, and it didn't even do it. There, see how you see the difference here? Look, this layer and line type is the same exact layer and line type as what we see in there, but because I've scaled the viewport, this is what I get for my layer of a millwork above in the 1-to-1 scale. Now, how do I get anything that I create, and I don't know that I will be able to, and this is all coming back to me, so I don't usually have to deal with this a lot of times, but how do I get this in paper space to look exactly like this in model space? And that all stems from the PSLT scale, but I'm at a loss now. I can't remember exactly what it needs to be set to. If I set it to 0 again and I regen, well, it didn't seem to do anything. Anyway, that's a little bit about that. I don't mean to confuse things, but I hope that was helpful. I hope that answered your question. It is one of the more complex things that you can run up against when working with drawings, defining the LT scale both in the model space and the paper space. All right. Here's what I want to do. Let's quickly do some text. In your model space, here's what I'd like you to do. In model space, I'd like you to start the A and O note, or set the A and O note layer as your current layer. All right? Here, we have some text that we can add. Right here. And I'll be honest with you, setting all this up, you're probably going to have a lot of this already predefined. So a bulk of this exercise is setting up these styles, but you're going to probably have a lot of them set up. So we're going to try to use the styles that come in this file. And after that, it's pretty straightforward as far as using the tools. So here's what I want you to do. Go to your Annotate tab. All right. All right, here are our text styles. Let's use this standard style. So it should be the one that's already selected for us. Okay? Now it says here that the text is going to be 3/16 of an inch tall. I don't want it to be 3/16 of an inch tall. So we're going to have to set this when we're going to have to remember to reset this when we place the text. To place the text, what I want you to do is click on this tool right here, multi-line text. The way you add text is you define a text box. So go ahead and click here, multi-line text. And over to the side here, I want you to pick a corner. And then I want you to pick another corner here. And this gives us a text box. Now we can start to type in the text. But I want to change the height. Right now the height is set to 3/16 of an inch. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to change the text height right here to be 3/32 of an inch. See how you can set that? Now you have to hit enter here to get it to change. And look how this changed in size over here. All right, so make sure this says 3/32. And then you can start to type the notes. They're general notes. So I'm going to type in here, general, and you can zoom in and out. I'm going to put my caps lock on. General notes. Oh, I forgot I had my caps lock on. Okay. Now, if you hit enter, you'll return, you'll go down. And look at this, we have a lettered list. So let's do that. There's, up here is where we can do bullets and numbers. So change this to lettered. And look, you can decide whether or not you want the list to be uppercase or lowercase. I'm going to keep uppercase. All right, there's letter A. The first note is all walls to be 3.5 inches thick. So just type that in. All, my goodness, what is going on here? I tried to do turn off my caps lock. Let's try this again. There we go. All right. All, why? All, there we go. All walls to be 3 space 1/2 inch, and watch, it automatically stacks. Thick. All right, next one, all windows to be 3 feet wide. So all you have to do is just hit enter. All windows to be 3 foot 0 inches Y, period. And then finally, I think you'll get the idea after this. All doors to be 2 foot 6 inches wide. Okay? Now, to exit out of here, you can either do one of two things. You can click outside of the text box, or you can hit close editor here. Either way, it'll give you the same thing. Now notice how everything in the layout is showing with your plot styles. So even though when we did it in the text window, we saw the color of the layer, here it's showing with our plot style, black and white. The last thing that I'll leave you with here is this. Notice there's a space in between here. All right, this is a minor little thing. If you want that, all you have to do, and this also goes into the topic of editing text, simply double click on any text and you get into the text editor. And it just gives you all the same tools, but now you can come in here, and this is how I accomplish this. If you come over to the end of one of the lines and you hit enter, now B is there, but if you just backspace, now this becomes B. Isn't that nice? Now here, I'll do it again at the end of line B. I'll hit enter. It thinks I'm trying to add in another line, so I'll just backspace, and now I've got C there. Okay? Maybe I want another space between here and here. All right.
Hey, Alan, I'm not sure what happened to mine. I put it in and then it disappeared.
Try it again. And then, I don't know how it disappeared, but just make sure when you're in the text editor or when you're adding the text, make sure you hit close. Oh, I think I know what happened. Is it possible? I don't know. No, this is not a plot style table thing. No. I was thinking, let me see. No. I was thinking it was on a no plot layer. No. Just try it again. But if you got it in there the first time, I don't know. All right. Let's try to wrap this up. Now, I went and I tested something with the dimensions. We're going to have to make a couple changes to the dimension. So here, we are going to edit the existing dimension style so that it is more of an architectural style of dimensions. All right, so here's what I want you to do. I'm going to put this off to the side here somewhere. And then I'm going to guide everybody through this process. And then we're going to add a couple dimensions, and then we'll create a PDF and we'll call it a day. All right, go to your model space for this. All right. On your annotate tab, I need you to get to the dimension styles. And how do we do that? I should say the dimension style manager. In the dimension panel, there's a little teeny arrow in the lower right-hand corner of the panel. Go ahead and click on that little arrow. That will bring up what's known as the dimension style manager. We're gonna make some changes to the standard style here. So to do that, with standard selected, I want you to click on modify. All right, we'll start here on the line set. Notice there's a lot that goes into configuring a dimension. But the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start here on the lines tab. One of the settings I'd like you to change here is this one, extend beyond dim lines. I want you to set that to a 1/16 of an inch. Just type in 1/16. All right, that's really all I need for that one, for that tab. Now, go to your symbols and arrows tab. Instead of arrows, we're going to have architectural ticks. So right here where it says arrowheads, I want you to change this to architectural tick. So I'm on symbols and arrows. The very first drop down, I want you to change to architectural tick. Notice how it automatically changes architectural tick on the second one. That's great. For the arrow size, I also want this to be 1/16 of an inch. All right? All right. Next, I want you to go to the text window here. All right, I want you to leave it on standard size. I'm sorry, standard style is what I meant to say, standard style. But I want you to change the text height here to 330 seconds. No, actually, yeah, 330 seconds, that'll be fine. 330 seconds of an inch. Text height, 330 seconds of an inch. Now, look at my preview over here. It shows the text as all horizontal. For text alignment, I want you to change this aligned with the dimension line. Also, you'll notice how the text is in the center of the dimension line. I want it to be above the dimension line. So, I want you to come over here. It says text placement. I want it to be above for vertical. Okay, above for vertical. All right, next, go to the fit. For the fit, I want you to change the scale, and I didn't have time to get into drawing scales, but just take my word for it. I want you to change this to 64. That's the scale for 3/16 of an inch equals a foot. All right, and then notice how the units in the preview are decimal. And you're saying, wait a minute, our drawing is architectural. Oddly enough, you can have a different set of units for your dimensions than what's set in your drawing. So finally, go to primary units and change this units format to architectural. And uncheck here, 0 depression. If there's inches, I don't want to see 0 feet. So just uncheck 0 feet. Now there's one minor thing, I forget where it's at. Is it on lines? I want a little bit of an extension beyond the tick lines. Where, oh, here it is, extend beyond tick line. Now the reason we didn't see this before is because we had arrows. If I set this back to arrows and I come over here, you'll see it's blanked out. But if you set it to tick marks, like we did, now we can add a little bit of an extension. I want you to put in here 1/16 of an inch.
Alan, where is extend beyond tick line?
This, you have to go, and go back to lines.
And what do you want it
And
set
it's
on?
right here, extend beyond tick. Now, it's a minor thing. It's not going to be crucial. It's just a little minor aesthetic thing. You don't have, if you don't find it, don't worry about it. Go ahead and hit OK here. And this one is the standard one, and go ahead and hit close. And here's what I want you to do, using the dimension to, set the layer to A anno dims. And then after you set the layer, go back to the annotate tab, and here's the dimension tool. All right, we'll add a couple dimensions. How about this dimension at the north wall here? Pick a point here and pick a point here. And look at that, recognize that dimension? 16'6". How about this dimension? From here to here. There's 31'7". And here's the last one that I'll do with you guys. And you can remember all of these dimensions? 1'6". Now here's what I want you to do. Add this 1'6" dimension. Okay? And then I want you to use the option here to continue this dimension. And now you can select this dimension to continue. And you can go through here and add the 3 foot, the 12'6", the 3 foot, the 7'1".
So there's no tool to add them automatically, like it wouldn't do it for you. You have to actually physically do each one.
Now I don't know if I'm prepared to kind of go into all of that, but here, let me.
No, it's not. I'm not asking you to do it. Just a question.
Yeah, there is a way. There is a way to do an automatic or quick dimensions, as they call it. All right, and by the way, you can manipulate the positions of the text that is in the dimensions. You can just select the dimension and move these around like so. Okay, now I don't know why I decided to put a leader here, but I can move the text with my little grips here. And there you go. Now I always, I don't know what it is about me. I always pick the wrong zero suppression. I don't know why I do this all the time. It's a minor little thing. I'm going to go back here, modify it, go back to my text. No, my units. Yeah. I always select the wrong one. I don't want to suppress inches. I want to suppress feet. I don't know what that is about me that does that. Yeah, that's more like it. Yeah. All right. Save your file. Now, we got one last thing that we're going to do. We're going to plot. And we're already done. We're already done with this. We already set this up. So here's how we'll finish up today. What I want everybody to do is go to your layout tab. That's the wrong button. I want everybody to go to your layout tab. Floor plan, if you renamed it floor plan. And let's just go straight to the quick access toolbar. and go ahead and click plot.
What?
All right. Go ahead and hit this. This wants to teach you how to do multiple batch plots. We're going to skip that. Go ahead and hit here, continue to plot single sheet. This is the plot dialog box, which looks almost exactly like the page setup. In fact, this is where we can select the page setup, but it's already selected because we assigned that page setup to the layout. Everything that we set up is already set up here. So all you have to do is push OK. Now what it will do, it'll ask you, where do you want to save this PDF? Go ahead and tell it you want to save it in your class files folder. It'll name it after the name of the file and the layout. But you can name it whatever you want. But I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And there is my print. All right. Notice the viewport is not visible. See there? There's the viewport, and we want it visible in the drawing so that we can manipulate it if we need to. But when we print it out, it doesn't show. All right. That's all I have. Now, there is one last topic, and I'll just quickly explain that, and I mentioned it before we began this week. Basically, all of that work that we went through, setting up the layers, setting up the units, bringing in the blocks, setting up the page setup and the layout. You don't have to do that every single time you start a drawing if you do it once and save your drawing as a template. And basically it shows you how to do that right here. You just go to, you can take this drawing and save it as. Now what you would probably want to do is not every project, every drawing is going to be a different subject. Not going to be this bedroom every single time. So keep all of the things that you set up, but get rid of the geometry that's going to be different for another project. And then save it as a template. All right, and then that was the last thing. And you probably don't have to worry about creating templates. As I mentioned, you have all of those standards coming out for you from my point of contact. I already forgot his name. Sorry. I don't know if you guys know him or not. It is Phil Joseph. Daniel Joseph is your facilities management guy, and I'm working with him, and he's setting up all of your AutoCAD standards. Facility System Manager and Integrator Project Controls Division, Daniel Joseph. All right, that's all I have. Does anybody have any final requests or questions?
I have one.
Yeah, I was wondering, is there, could you show us quickly how to batch print? Say we have 3 or 4 sheets and we want to print them all at once?
Can Marissa just go?
Here's what I'm going to do. I'll do that real quick, and then we'll call it a day. Here's what I'll do. I'm going to create a copy of my layouts. If you right-click on one of your layout tabs, you can copy, and you have to hit here. This is just like you can do in Excel, right? And I'm going to copy it to the end. So there's one. I'm going to get rid of this one. The reason I'm doing this is so I have some sort of context to show you. And I'll copy this last one. All right. And just so they're different, I'll make this one sheet A1. Now, how am I editing that? This is sheet A2. When you have attributes in a block, all you have to do is double click, just like you double click on text to edit. Well, here you're editing an attribute. And I'll make this sheet A3. All right. Now, to publish, means you can, or wait a minute. Yeah, batch, here, I'm sorry, not publish, but print. If you go to your application menu and you hover over print, you'll see a batch plot option here. Then this comes up, and what you do is you decide what it is you want to print. Now, I'm using just this one drawing. Now, you can, and I don't have time to get into it here, but you can go ahead and add to this list other drawings. But we're just going to use this layout here. I'm going to select this one, and this one. And these are the ones that I'm going to plot. Oh, all I'm trying to do maybe is I'm going to remove the overall drawing, the model space, from my batch plot, okay? Now, did you see how I did that? I selected the overall model space drawing, and I removed it. And now I have residential floor plan 2, and residential floor plan 3. Okay, and they're naming them after the names of the layout tabs. All right, here you would set up or define this by their default page setup, or if you wanted to force the issue, and I can't seem to get it to work here, you would select, you know why I can't get it to work? I don't have another page setup. So this is the only page setup that's here. If I had multiple page setups, then I'd be able to select from a list of page setups. All right. And now with this list here, you basically just go ahead. Oh, wait, if I'm going to do it to well, it'll tell me. If I go ahead and hit publish, this is asking me for maybe the next time I want to come in here, I can just recall this list. I'm not going to do that. I'll just say no. And so now it's printing in the background. There's a little thing happening down here. You can see the little printer is printing away. Now it's supposed to ask me the name of the file. Well, I don't know how it plotted, but here's a little window here. It's telling me how it did. Oh, look at this. It created separate, oh, I see what it did. It created separate ones. Now, there's probably a setting in here where, well, we'll see what happened here. All right, this is the one I just printed, residential. All right, look at that. So there you see, there's sheet A1, sheet A2, and then sheet A3. I don't know how it knew, but I know there's a setting that was probably already set. It just threw or spit out this file with all those sheets in one file with a default name. And there's probably a way I could have done that with another name. But there you go.
Hey,
That's
Alan.
how you can get plot. Yep.
Are we going to have access to some of this stuff after our training, like in a few minutes? I mean, do we have these files available for us to save on our computers or what?
All right, let me quickly do that. what I'm gonna have you do is I'm gonna put my email address. Anybody who wants their files, I'm gonna have to download them. I have to do this. So I'm gonna put my email address. All right. I'm gonna do that right now. All right. Actually, let's see here. Who asked for that?
James Zeke.
Okay, if I click here. Ooh,
Well, just give me your email address and I'll email
it's
you.
in the chat. It's in the chat. But I have to download them from here, and I have to quickly figure that out because the class is going to end in 15 minutes, and then it's going to go all blown away here. Let's see. Library. Desktop. All right, any other questions while I'm doing this?
Thank you.
You got it. All right.
Are you doing a level 2?
I am doing the level 2.
And are you doing this for all of us or just for
I don't know who
James?
signed up for it. I don't know. I think I have 2 level 2 classes.
No, are you doing the files? Are you sending the files?
I'm going to try to get all the files. I'm in James's. Do this for me, just so I don't waste any time here. Send me an email right now of anybody who wants their files, and I'm going to try to get them. I have to remember how to do all of this. Let's see, transfer local to remote. Local to remote. No, that's not what I need to do here. Oh gosh, I might not be able to get them off of here. I know there was a way to do this. Transfer, here we go, transfer. All right, the source is, oh no, I don't think this is gonna work. Let's see, James. No,
So
that
we
just
won't be
is
able
demo.
to access these files until we get AutoCAD anyways, right?
That's true too, yeah, you won't be able to open them up unless you have AutoCAD. Remote, here we go, remote systems. Oh, and this has to be in the outbox. Okay. Here's what I need. Let's see. Who emailed me? Let's see. Nobody yet. All right. James, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to close AutoCAD. And this is anybody else who wants this, let me know.
I emailed you. You didn't get
I
my
haven't
email?
gotten it yet.
Oh,
So did I.
Got it yet.
traveling.
But anyway, everybody else, what I need you to do is close out of AutoCAD. Shoot. Save what you need here. Damn it. Why isn't this saving? Or why isn't this closing? Jeez. All right, take everything in your class files, or just take the whole class files folder and dump it into the outbox here. So you see what I did here, Ready Tech. All right, so apparently I've got things open here. Darn it.
Yeah, same thing.
open up ReadyTech, open up the outbox, and drop it in there. The action can't be completed because the folder or file is open in another program. I know it's not.
I got the same message.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm not going to be able to do it.
Okay.
What I can do is I can send you a copy of my files, at least.
Okay.
So here's what I'll do is I'll go to my, and it's terrible because I'm under the gun. As soon as this hits 5 o'clock, it's finished. All right, here's the portal here. So I apparently am the only one able to transfer files.
I was able to move just residential into the outbox.
Okay, all right.
So when I just grabbed that one, that worked.
All right, let me see if I can get that one. That's not it. Remote systems. All right, Sandra
Yes.
and James, to my local system, transfer. All right, it's transferring. All right, let's see if it did it. So here's James. Nothing. Oh, James, you didn't move anything to the outbox. Sandra, there's your residential in the outbox. All right, James, if you can quickly, or maybe I can try to do it for you. Let's see. All right, so James, let's see if I go in here, and this seems to be locked up. Oh, I'm not taking control. That's it. All right, here's control. Here's the ReadyTech. Here's the outbox. Let's see if I can just grab the files here. So residential, and yeah, that's basically it. Residential. And you know what I'll also do? I'll bring in your plot and your workbook. And I'll dump that in there. Oh, good. It moved right in. All right, then I'm going to stop controlling and I'm going to go to here, to the lab overview, and transfer from remote systems, transfer James again, and I will go to my local system and transfer. All right. And let's make sure that everything came. And then I'll just email this to you guys, Sandra and James. I'll email it. Let's see if it came in. So back to my folder here. Downloads. All right, here's a second transfer at 449. James again. Oh. Shoot. It says complete. Did I put it in the right folder? Yeah, it's in the outbox. All right, I'll give it one more shot here. transfer remote systems, James, to my local system, transfer. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on.
Don't worry about it. Thanks.
All right, I tried. Yeah, or maybe I have to do a refresh.
Well, if you think of it later.
Well, like I said, I've got literally 7 minutes to figure this out. But you know what I'll do? I'll send you a copy of my mine, and then you'll
Okay.
at least have that.
Hey, Alan.
Yeah.
I'm getting LT for use at home. How similar is this going to be to LT?
It's exactly the same. The only thing LT doesn't have is 3-dimensional tools, and we didn't do anything 3-dimensional.
Okay, thank you.
You got it.
Have a good weekend.
You too. All right. I'll send that to you, Sandra, and James. I'll send you my copy.
Okay, thank you.
You got it.